Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale is broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Believe me, you're going to be so pleased you did today. We have a wonderful man. His name is Keith Williams, who came in from California to be on the program and is originally, as you'll be able to hear shortly, from the UK. So thank you for coming in, Keith.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How long have you been in the States?
Well, let me say, I came over here originally in 1990.
Oh, okay.
And at the invite of Carnival Cruise Lines.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And then that's how my career here in the United States started, basically.
Yeah. You were a police officer.
I was, yes.
Were you called a Bobby?
Yes, I was a
Yeah.
Bobby for some 23 years.
That's a
altogether.
long time.
Yes.
An equestrian officer.
Yes,
the whole time?
Indeed. Well,
Yeah.
no, I did my, as we say, shaking door handles, for 2 years,
Yes.
probationary.
Right.
And then I went to the final police college in Hendon, which is in North London,
Right.
and took the final examination and then
Right.
came out as a fully fledged police officer.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then about 2 years later, I applied for the mounted police, which is the reason why I joined the job in the first place.
Yes,
Become
yes.
a Bobby. That was my ulterior motive.
Yes.
And I got in.
You loved horses.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I used to drive my parents nuts. I mean, I would come home from school and my mum would say, "Please, Keith, not again." "But Mum, there's a girl in my class and she's got this really cool putt." "No, we cannot afford, Keith." "But Mum, please."
Yes.
Slap. No,
Yes.
I can't have it, And so yeah, I was horse mad, completely.
Yeah.
So when I got into the branch, it was like winning the lottery.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was fabulous.
My son was the same way. My youngest son, who loved quarter horses.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
to be an expert on Western pleasure and those kinds of things,
right.
and loved the ponies. But he ended when it got to the point where he wanted a new cutting horse. And cutting horse was a real bargain.
Yeah.
At 10 grand.
Expensive.
Yeah. And then there was the training.
Oh yes.
2 years worth. And then there was the trailer.
Yes.
And then there was the travel.
I know. Well, I was lucky because we were shipped in, 6 to 8 horse boxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a huge coach.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, it had like 4 stalls on one side and 4 stalls on the other.
Wow, that's a lot.
So when
of
we
them,
went
yeah.
on like state openings and demonstrations, rather than have us ride through London, they would ship us in these huge horse boxes.
Oh, okay.
And then we'd arrive at the venue or the location and, unpack the horses, set up, and off we'd go.
And they're great for crowd control.
Oh yes, I mean, no one messes with a horse. No one messes with a 2,000-pound horse coming at full belt.
Yes.
And I've parted a few crowds with mine.
Yeah. And I remember, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, here in the U.S., and they had mounted police and probably still do.
Oh yeah.
And crowd control before the football games and
soccer games,
and the soccer game, the baseball games, all that sort of thing. And it did tend to make people pay attention.
Oh yes, I mean, I used to do West Ham United soccer club every Saturday. That was one of my jobs. I used to do Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
Millwall Soccer Club.
Oh yeah.
And then we would go out of London and do some of the, like Watford.
Oh yeah.
They're all football clubs in just inside and outside of London. So that was one of my jobs. Every Saturday I'd have to go and do crowd control, and every now and again, you would get the naughty ones.
Yes.
And there'd be fights in the street and stuff like that.
Not that football fans in England can get rowdy or anything.
Oh my word.
But yeah.
Have you ever been to a Wembley game?
No, never.
Cup final, Wembley.
No.
England versus Scotland. I'm sitting there on my horse.
That's asking for trouble.
I'm sitting there on my horse. This is a true story. I'm sitting there on my horse, and I feel this hand on my horse's butt going, "Excuse me, officer. Excuse me, officer." So I look down. It's Rod Stewart.
Is that right? Yeah, that's funny.
He said, "Excuse me, would you mind escorting me to the players' entrance?" He says, "There's too many people here in this parking lot, and the parking lot." I said, "Absolutely, Rod Stewart." He says, "Okay." So I said, the chap I was with, my fellow officer, I says, "I'll be back in a minute." So he said, "Oh, okay, mate." So, "Okay, Rod, follow me." So he literally grabbed onto the horse's tail, and I ploughed him through the crowd to the players' entrance, where he got back and he slapped me on the leg, and he says, "Cheers, mate."
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah,
That's a wonderful
Rod Stewart,
story.
can you believe that?
Oh yeah,
that's just
I can.
one of many.
But you know, he pales in comparison to your duty at the grand wedding.
Oh my goodness, that
you were
was
telling
amazing.
me before we rolled tape. But
Yeah.
take a minute to tell us about Lady Di and Charles.
Yeah, we're talking wedding day. Princess
Yeah.
Di and Princess Diana
Princess Di, yeah.
and Prince Charles. And my horse was selected to be one of the escorts for the landau, which is basically the royal carriage, as it came down the mall toward Buckingham Palace.
Right.
And so we were escorting either side, and then we were in the same process, keeping the crowd back, because there were thousands of people there. I mean, I've never seen so many people in my life. There were thousands of them. So they all followed behind. So we got down towards the entrance of the palace, and at the bottom you've got the Royal Albert Memorial there, called the Wedding Cake.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a big roundabout.
Yes.
Okay, with Queen Victoria sitting there in our carriage. And anyway, so long story short, the four of us end up going inside the inner sanctum of the palace. Then they close the gates, and then all the crowd just rush forward toward the gate, and they're all standing there waiting for them to come out on the balcony to do the royal wave.
Right.
So we were given the order to dismount. So the four of us, we get off our horses, and we're standing basically at the attention underneath the balcony where the royal family were to come out and wave.
Okay.
And about maybe 5 or 6 minutes later, this royal page comes out of a side door with 4 glasses of champagne on it, and he says, "Officers, this is from Princess Diana and Prince Charles to commemorate their wedding. She would like you to have this."
Oh, isn't that sweet?
I mean,
join in the toast.
My gosh!
Oh,
I
what
was
an
like,
honor!
Blew us away, you know.
What an
so
honor!
Cheers, mate! And so all 4 of us stood there drinking, the champagne. Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to. We weren't really drinking; it was lemonade. But yeah, so it was amazing. So the royal family came out.
Yes.
The crowd went absolutely nuts, just crazy, screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
And then they all did the wave, and the entire family were up above us. We were standing there going,
drinking away.
"Oh, this is great."
The coppers are drinking.
The bobbies were drinking. Yeah, shh, not a word. But yeah, it was a great experience.
Oh, that is a great time. How did you tell us a little bit about growing up? You grew up in Newcastle.
I grew up actually as a child in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Yes.
Which is
almost Scotland.
Almost about 65 miles from the border of Scotland.
Yeah.
And I was born there. My mum and dad were just ordinary working class people.
Yeah.
Dad worked for the builders merchants
in
Newcastle called Henry Mote and Son.
Yes.
My mum worked for Woolworths.
Oh, okay.
As an assistant.
Sure.
And I grew up just basically as a young kid,
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to the age of like 7 to 8 years old, my dad was promoted in Henry Mote and Son, and we ended up living in a border town on the borders of England and Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Called Berwick upon Tweed.
Oh, what a wonderful name.
Berwick
upon Tweed.
Yes.
And Tweed was the river.
Tweed was the river, yes.
Yeah.
Now, the actual town itself is better known through the histories as being a fortified town.
Ah, a wall. And,
yes,
yeah.
because the town itself is surrounded by the Elizabethan and the Edwardian walls.
Ah, okay.
So it faces the ocean to the north, but it also faces the river. So back in the day, it was considered a very valuable piece of property.
Oh, yes.
Berwick changed hands 13 times.
Wow.
Between the English and the Scots.
Wow.
Bloody battles ensued over those years to take control of this border town.
Yes.
And so far, and if there's anyone here from Berwick now watching, this is pure hearsay, so forgive me. It's now in the hands of the Scottish.
Is it? Oh,
and maybe a slice of England is in there too.
Yeah.
But yes, that was it.
Yeah, my people came from Scotland originally, and I saw a map that my son's father-in-law showed me, and I think we mentioned before we rolled that his family, the Simpsons, were from that area, from Wall's End.
Yes, Wall's End, yes, absolutely.
And he showed me a map where the various clans and the Davidsons were straddling what's now the border.
That, believe it or not, Davidson was my grandmother's maiden name.
Well, there you are.
So we could be related.
Undoubtedly.
I mean, you know, think about it.
It's exciting to meet someone from the old country.
You're very welcome. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been wonderful hearing your history. Let's talk about the now. You're an acclaimed singer.
Thank you.
Yes, it's true.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Lovely tenor voice.
Thank you.
And you've been at that all your life?
Yes, pretty much. Even though I was working as a bobby, every minute, every spare moment I had on my days off, on my vacation times, I'd be singing in the pubs and clubs in London.
Okay, yeah.
And then I ventured
as a professional,
as a professional artist. Yes, as a singer. There were 3 singers in my locale where I used to live in London.
Right.
And so we were like the 3 top singers. I was like number 1, number 2, and I would travel to South Wales.
Oh, okay.
And do all the working men's clubs. I'd take 2 weeks vacation and do the clubs in South Wales.
Oh, okay.
Doing a different club every night, you know, working with the house band or working with tracks, or back in those days it was tapes.
Right,
and so I had all that. So I did that for several years, much to the frowning of my superior officers.
They didn't like you being in show business.
No, they didn't like it at all.
Yeah. What was
Sorry, sir.
What bothered them about that?
I was moonlighting.
Oh, they just didn't
Not
like
allowed.
that whole idea.
But I that's where I broke my teeth in. In fact, I actually broke my teeth in working in the pubs of the East End of London.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you a very, very
tough crowd, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the East End of London was run by gangsters.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Back in those days. And the Cray twins were the main gangsters in East London back in those days.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were nasty.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was working in this pub one night, right on the docks in the East End.
Wow.
Prince of Wales.
That's what it was called, the club. Right.
And I just finished my last set.
Right.
And these 2 guys walked in, and I'm telling you, they were tough.
You could tell by looking at them.
Yeah. I mean, they're just... Because I'm standing on stage with a mic in my hand, and the 2 of them are now at the bar, you know, going... And the barman came across, and he's filling the glass, and he's giving them... So I'm just about to finish my last song, and one of them turns around, and he comes across, and he stands right in front of the stage. It scared me. But the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
And he's got his arms folded like this, and he looks up and he says, "Do you know the song Wild Rover?" I said, "Well, I do. Sing it." Oh my gosh. So I turned around to my organ player and said, "Do you know Wild Rover?" He says, "What key?" I says, "How do I know? But do you know it?" So he said, "Well, let's try it." So he says, "I've been a wild rover for many a year." I said, "That's it. That's the right key."
Yeah.
So we sang it. The whole pub was deathly quiet. I mean, it was full. It was a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Everybody was out, you know, knocking it back.
Yes.
And after I'd finished the song, and I'm now sweating bullets, thinking, "Oh my gosh,
like,
he's
what's
going
to
to
happen
kick me
now?"
outside and throw me in the dock, you know."
Yes.
So he came up to me, and the whole pub was quiet, and he came up to me and stood right in front of me, and he went, and he said, "Well done," he says. "Come and join me at the bar for a drink." I went, "Oh, thank God." So yeah, so it was,
That's some excitement.
It had its moments.
Yeah,
Me,
yeah. How you broke in. What a great story.
Yeah,
what a great story.
And then after that, it was just history.
Oh, wow. We're going to take a brief break.
Okay, great.
We'll be back with Keith Williams in just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for sticking around. God bless you. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. You know, radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you should ever want to be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day, no matter what you say.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We are blessed to have with us Keith Williams, who came in from California. He's originally from the UK. He's a terrific singer and a wonderful backstory. If you didn't watch the first segment, shame on you, but rewind and watch it. It'll be well worth it. Tell us a little bit about the present. You live in a beautiful place in the mountains.
I live in a beautiful town called Cool,
just like it
California.
Sounds. Wow, what a great name.
And it's beautiful. I mean, the setting itself, my home overlooks the Tahoe National Forest.
Oh, wow.
So I have a 3-tier deck, which a very dear friend of mine has actually played on. We'll get to that shortly.
Wow.
And the view is just spectacular.
What a blessing.
And the weather, the sunsets are God's creation, believe me, and they are amazing.
Yes. And what mountains are they in?
These are the Sierra Buttes.
The Sierras.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just below Lake Tahoe.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah, it's
a
gorgeous.
magnificent
Indeed.
place. Chose it for my wedding trip.
Oh,
put it
yes.
that way.
Yes.
After I got married. Tell me about Carnival Cruise Lines and how that came about.
Well, thank you. I was working for a cruise company at the time called Prince of Fundy Cruises.
Oh, okay.
And it was through an agency in Colchester in Essex.
Okay.
And the agent called me up one day just after I'd lost a major summer season. I had no work. to speak of.
Yes.
And he called me completely out of the blue, and he said, "I've heard about you, Keith. Would you be interested in working on a cruise ship?" And I almost fell off my chair. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
What's the bad part of that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
the long and the short of it was, I ended up doing 4 different shows over a period of 4 nights, and they were in rotation.
Oh, okay.
And they were very up-tempo, quick change shows about, the world and the country and all the rest. I mean, he's really good.
Yeah.
And then
Stories,
yes, basically.
Yeah.
And then I would do my own cabaret show after the main show.
Okay.
To all the passengers. So I was sitting. I went up to the bar one night after one of my shows, and this chap was sitting there like this. So I walked up, and the bartender knew what gin and tonic.
There you go.
So I was standing there. I was sitting there, and he said, "I like what you did there," and I had no idea who this guy was.
Yes.
I said, "Oh well, wow, well, thank you. I appreciate that." No, he says, "You're great."
Yeah.
Oh wow. So I said, "Are you on vacation?" He says, "Well, yeah." He said, "I'm traveling from Portland, Maine to Yarmouth in Nova Scotia with my wife and kids. We're going to have some vacation time there." I says, "Oh, great. Canada's a beautiful country."
Oh, it is. Nova Scotia's gorgeous.
Yeah. So he said, "I work for Carnival Cruise Lines." "You do?" Like, what?
Yeah.
So he said, "Yeah." He said, "My name is Scott Carpenter, and I'm a talent scout for Carnival."
Wow.
And he said, "If ever you're in the United States," and he puts his hand in his pocket and hands me
Out comes a card.
his business card, and he says, "If ever you're in the United States, give me a call." I mean, I said, "Okay, fine. This is incredible
How can I not
news."
do
Yeah.
that?
So he, that day or that evening, he left the ship, and I never heard or saw anything of him again until the following year. I'm now living in Boston.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I got to do something with the rest of my life. So what can I do? So I call him, completely off the cuff.
Yes.
So he says, "I remember you." He said, "In fact, I was just telling my fellow staff about you last week," he said.
Wow.
He said, "This is too much of a coincidence."
That's
He
supposed
said
to
it was
be.
meant to be, So he said, "Do you have any material you can send me?" I says, "Well, actually, yeah." I said, "I have, the last show I did on the ship." He says, "Great." So back in those days, of course, it was VHS.
Yeah, sure.
What's VHS?
We're us oldsters, remember.
I know, yeah. So I did. So I sent him that, plus my bio and photos and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
And then 2-3 days later, I get a phone call, and he said, "We want you in Miami. How soon can you be here?"
Wow.
I said, "Well, sure." I says, "But I have a slight problem." He says, "What's that?" I said, "I'm kind of short on dosh, money." He says, "Don't worry about that, Keith. We'll take care of everything for you." So that night, the next day, they overnighted a first-class ticket from Boston to Miami. They put me up in the Hilton Hotel, free gratis. All I had to do was sign for it.
Right.
And the following Monday, I was performing on my first ship, the TSS Carnival.
No audition. Just boom. You were working. Wow.
So I was doing 2 shows a week, and I was doing the...
That's not a really tough schedule. I mean, it's not like every night.
Yeah, I was so bored.
Yeah.
I was so bored. I mean, I do the Welcome Aboard show to like 2 or 3 passengers, 2,000 or 3,000 passengers, sorry.
Right.
Then I do my own cabaret show, called the Midnight Show.
Right.
In one of the main lounges. And that's all I did. But I was so bored, I got friendly with the cruise director.
Right.
And said, "Hey, guys, if you ever need any help doing these, the Nobly Knees contest, or the yard drinking ale contest, or whatever, then just let me know." I said, "I'd love to." And calling bingo, eyes down, looking.
Oh yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah. So the cruise director said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be sitting in the crew bar getting smashed,
Yeah.
So he said, "Okay." So that's how it started. So I ended up working on the ship with the crew staff, welcoming passengers aboard during the when they would come on board the ship.
Sure.
Doing the shows, then doing the deck games and all the other stuff, calling bingo and yada yada.
Being a celebrity. Yeah.
And then I'd be walking down the market in St. Thomas, and I'd, "Hey Keith, how's it going, man?" Do I know these people? No, but they're passengers. Oh, hi there, how are you? You know, it was like
great.
crazy, yeah. So I did that for a long time.
And they had audiences of 2,000 and 3,000? I had no
Every week.
idea. I had
Every
no
week.
idea.
Yeah. The first ship I was on had, I think it was 1,800 passengers. That was the TSS Carnival. Then the second ship I was on was the Tropical, which was doing the Southern Caribbean runs down through San Juan, Puerto Rico, all the way down to Guadalupe, Martinique, Aruba, Caracas, Venezuela.
Right.
And I did that for that second ship. There was probably 28 to 3,000 passengers every week. Wow. So my show, the opening aboard show, would be in front of, you know, a couple of thousand people, and then my main show would, because the lounges were not particularly as big as the theatre, but at least 500 to 600 people would show up for my main show, which was my cabaret show.
Your cabaret show. What kinds of songs did you do in the cabaret show?
I covered songs from Neil Sedaka,
Okay.
Barry Manilow,
Right.
Tom Jones, Neil Diamond,
Right.
all the greats.
Yes.
And I had a 35, 45-minute show,
Oh, okay.
working with the orchestra from the pit.
Oh, that's
and
great.
It was great, and I'd just, you know, do the cabaret setting. The tables would be all set around me, and I just work the floor and you know, schmooze up to the ladies, and oh God, you know, it'd be all a glitter.
Yeah.
And so that was how I did it. And then during the day, like I said, when I wasn't doing my shows, I'd be working on the ship and doing
the production show. Was that your show, the big one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And did you write it all? And
not back then. It
Yeah.
was just purely covers that I was singing.
Yeah.
But I think what it was in the end, that Miami head office just fell in love with me because they realized my potential.
Yes.
Because it got to the point where I had the cruise director on the Tropical fighting with the cruise director on the Celebration as to who had Keith Williams on their ship.
Wow.
And that was how it went, you know. And then I got a phone call from the president of Carnival, and he said to me, Keith, we need you. And I said, well, thank you, that's very kind of you, but where? He says, it doesn't matter, we need you. He says, I'm coming on board next week, and he said, I want you to take care of my wife and children while I'm on board on vacation. I said, it would be my honor. So the president of Carnival Cruise Lines comes on board the Tropical, and I'm now looking after his wife and 2 kids.
Wow. Wow.
And I was doing all the deck games with them and taking them out on excursions, and it was awesome. I mean, it was a great experience.
How many years did you work
4
for
years.
That? Yeah. And then you moved to the U.S. because of that contact?
That was basically originally, yes.
Yeah.
I came into the U.S. because of, you know, the entertainment industry and singing.
Now, the Tom Jones show you're famous for, and you've done that everywhere.
Yes.
But tell me the history of that.
Okay, what happened was I was involved with an agent in Sacramento.
Right.
And we were having a meeting one afternoon in the Hilton Hotel in Sacramento.
Right.
And we're talking to the manager of the hotel, and she said, yes, Keith is a singer, and he does a commemoration thing to Tom Jones, yada, yada, yada. So he said, wow, he says, really? He says, that sounds great. Would you be interested in maybe performing the show in the hotel for our guests? I said, I'd love to. I said, but I work with tracks, and that's what I was working with at the time.
Yeah.
So he says, doesn't matter. He says, I'm sure it'll be fine. So, you know, a couple of weeks later, we get it all set up. I do the show. They loved it, just loved it.
That's good.
And then I'm thinking, after that, you know, if I had my own band, I did the whole shebang, live, Tom Jones, it's got to be a hit.
Yes.
So I put the word out amongst, you know, musicians and friends and word of mouth. I put together a 9-piece band.
Wow.
With a complete horn section, piano, bass, drums, guitar, saxes, trumpets, the whole 9 yards. And we then started rehearsing in my studio. We rehearsed for about 3 to 4 months every Friday night. Just to get it right.
Yeah.
And then I went out and knocked on doors, casinos, clubs,
You were
etc.
your own agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I went out and got work, because when you've got 9 musicians, that's a lot of people to keep employed.
Yeah.
You know? And so I did. And then the first gig that we did, the first show, was at Sun City, Lincoln Hills.
Okay.
In California, in northern, just above Auburn, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
in front of 400 people in their main theatre room. And it's like a gated community, and you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
Sun City's famous.
Yes. So we did in front of 400 people, our very, very first show.
That's a big audience.
Incredible, yeah. And then, you know, I did, you know, songs like It's Not Unusual, Delilah, You Can Leave Your Hat On, What's New Pussycat. I mean, all the hits that Tom had.
Yes.
And then I would give a little running commentary on about his life and what he did, and how I worked in his club in South Wales and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And did you ever hear from him? Did you ever talk
I wish.
to him?
Tom, if you're listening, give me a call. You know what I'm saying? But one of the highlights of that show was my drummer got in touch with Channel 31.
Oh, okay.
Good Day Sacramento back then.
Yeah.
And Marianne McCleary, who was one of the hosts on the show, she loved the concept.
Right.
So she called me and said, we want you on our TV show.
Yeah.
Good Morning Sacramento.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I mean, it totally blew us away. So if you go to YouTube and put Keith Williams, Tom Jones Experience, you'll see it. And so we did the show on TV. And I mean, I think that morning it went out for like 60,000 viewers.
Wow.
I mean, even people that I knew at work were sitting in the break room going, wow, that's Keith.
We knew he sang.
We knew he sang, but we had no idea.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it was well received by everyone. So we got a little bit more work out of it. We did a few casinos in Tahoe and Reno and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you played Vegas yet?
Well, I am available, by the way.
We'll see that they see you.
I did, but it was very small.
Oh, okay.
The first time I appeared in Vegas was when I won this trophy.
Hold that up. Tell us about that award.
This trophy was first place in the USA World Showcase. And I'm going to go back now and show my age, because this was on November 18th, 2009.
Yeah, not so
long ago. Going back a few years.
Yeah.
And I was basically, it was a competition. And I was basically up against a lot of other male and female singers.
Yeah.
And as a result of my appearance and the song that I sang, I was voted #1.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, we'd love
amazing.
to have you here on the Strip. We'll see that people have heard of you.
Well, like I said, I am available.
And in fact, we're going to give you the opportunity in the upcoming segment to sing a cappella. Thanks for nothing, he's thinking. Why are we...
Whoa, thank you.
I'm pushing him. If you don't mind singing a little something for us.
I would love to.
And let people know about your talent, which is considerable, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Keith Williams has been with us, and stick around. He's gonna grace us with a song or two right after this.
I saw the light on the night as I passed by her window. I saw the flickering shadow of love on her blinds. She was my woman. I should have seen me. I watched and went out of my mind. Lost that no man could free. At break of day, when that man drove away, I was waiting. I crossed the street to her house and she opened the door. She stood there laughing. I felt that knife in my hand, and she left no more. My Delilah. My Delilah.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. We are blessed to have with us Keith Williams, late of the UK, and also in what sounds like the most beautiful setting near Lake Tahoe in Northern California. And he has come down just to be on our show, and we're honored that you did so.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Oh,
it's been
so much.
So awesome.
I promised you'd sing. Would you sing something for us? Now, this is asking an awful lot of a performer because there are no tracks. There is no band.
No band. The band will be along later.
So a cappella is, I guess, what we're going to ask you to do. But anything you'd like to sing, as much of it as you'd like to sing.
All right. When I am down and oh my world so weary, when trouble comes, I most humble be. For I will be here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You build me up so I can stand on mountains. You build me up to walk on stormy seas. For I am strong when you are on my shoulder. You bring me up as wise as I can be.
Thank you. Everybody, come on. We have a studio audience in here.
Don't clap, just throw money.
Nicely done. You have a beautiful
Well, thank
voice.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll try to pitch it right.
Yeah. That's a. Have you had a lot of training? Was it all
Yes.
natural skill?
No, I had training when
Yeah.
I was very young. Actually, I say very young. I was probably about 19, 20 years old. That's when I was in the police force at the time. And I, through a friend, got involved with a gentleman by the name of Sir Alexander Hood, who was the singing coach for the London D'Oyly Opera Company.
Wow.
And
That's not nothing.
yeah. And so I went to him.
Yeah.
And he at the time he charged me 10 shillings an hour for an hour's work.
Yeah.
And I would go there for maybe a couple of hours every week, every Thursday, on my day off.
Yeah.
And he would teach me breathing technique and how to breathe and how to pronounce the vowels. A-E-I-O-U, and I go A-E-I-O-U. No, louder. A-E-I-O-U. So it would go, then it would build up and build up and build up, and then I started putting the lessons into practice, and my goodness, it paid off.
It did it.
It really did. Yeah. So I was with him for about almost 2 years.
Oh, that's great.
And then I learned how to what they call a technical circular breathing.
Okay.
So as you're singing the note, you're bringing the air in, but you're expelling the air at the same time. So as you're singing the note and you strengthen it, then you pull it back in, and then you
And so if you wonder how somebody can hold a note that long.
Correct.
Yeah. I went to see a guy named Boney James.
I remember him very well.
Boney? Yeah.
I do, yes.
Yeah, great sax player. And
yeah.
He held a note, and it seemed like an hour. You know?
Yes.
But my wife looked at me and said, circular breathing. I
Yes.
said, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the way I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And my voice has never been any better than it is right now.
Oh, that's great.
It's never been as strong as it is now.
That's good.
And as other audiences will testify.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to do in the future? What do you see? Do you want to be a recording artist? Do you want to continue to tour? Do you want a residency in Vegas?
Yes,
someplace
please.
else? Tell us what your dream is.
Well, my dream has always been to sing.
Yeah.
In fact, my grandfather used to tell me, he said, Keith, you're not a true Welshman unless you can sing.
That's the truth. I've heard that more than once.
And I would say, Grandpa, do you mean that? He says, oh yes, boyo. He says,
you gotta sing.
You have got a beautiful voice. You've got a voice that God gave you, and you need to use it.
Oh,
and I was only like 8 or 9 years old at the time, boy soprano singing in the choir in church. You know?
Yeah, sure.
And he was very, very much behind what I did. And then as my life progressed, singing and music became my passion.
Oh, that's wonderful.
My number one passion. So in answer to your question, yes, I would love to do a residency here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my own recording studio in cool California,
where
I actually recorded Mr. Joe Shavira, who I believe was once a guest on your show.
Yeah, recently. Yeah.
Yes, he came up, and like I said, I interviewed him on my radio show in Georgetown, California.
Yes.
So I have my recording studio, and so yes, I would like to, and I also write my own songs as well.
That's a completely separate gift, it
Yes.
seems to me. How did you learn how to write songs, or was that just a God-given?
It's just a
talent?
God-given thing that came from the heart.
Yeah.
And that's how I write. You know, as the thoughts come to me, or I see something that will inspire me. For instance, one of the songs I wrote called "Heading Home," along with my writing partner, Joe.
I read the review of that.
Yeah,
they loved that song.
Yeah, I mean, this was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the first review that I've actually had on one of our songs, and it was incredibly done. And but I actually got inspired. I was on YouTube one evening watching this trailer for a 30-second commercial for a country and western movie that was being promoted at the time.
Right.
And it was about this gal who had a couple of children, and you know, her husband had left her, and so she had nowhere to go. So she went home to the loving arms of her dad.
Right.
You know, and so I thought, oh my gosh, this would be a great title for a song, "Heading Home."
Heading Home.
So you know, we put the lyrics together, came up. The gentleman who came up with the music, his name is Butch Montserrat, and he lives in Sydney, Australia.
Wow. How'd you hook up with him?
Through an online Star Now, an online presence.
Okay.
And I found him, he found me, I found him, and I sent him the lyrics, and I said, "Butch, this is a great song, great lyrics. I need you to put your magic on it." So he came up with a really nice, sweet melody to it. And then as time went on, we just added and added and added. And then the full arrangement was done by my music supervisor, producer, Marcus Baroni, who is a music supervisor.
Wow.
And
your
he
music
did,
partner.
yes, and he did a fabulous arrangement on
Wow.
it, and it's right there on the internet.
Yeah. Have you done a video with it yet?
I did one, but I would love to do another.
Yeah. Finish it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a beautiful song.
Can you sing a little for us?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot, Dale.
Totally put him on the spot. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Let's
we'll
give
find
it a shot.
on the
Okay,
internet.
here we go.
Okay.
When you said you'd not be back, my world just fell apart. All those happy years that we had, I'm left with a broken heart. The pain I feel, it cuts like a knife. I'm broken, torn in two. To know you'll not be mine again, there's nothing I can do. I'm heading home to a place that I once knew, where life is sweet, full of love, with which to see me through. I'm heading home. I'm heading home.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. What a sweet song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there's more.
Yeah, I'll bet there is. Tell me about the Christmas song. You had a hit.
I did,
And
yes.
ended up in a movie. Tell me about
Yes,
that.
the song itself was called "Why Can't Christmas Be Here Every Day?"
Why can't Christmas be here
every day?
Yeah.
And it was, written by myself and Joni, and we did this for just for fun to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, as a result of a friend of ours, Prince Fleet Easton from Palm Springs, who is a fabulous entertainer,
Oh, okay.
he introduced us to a lady by the name of Martina Webster.
Okay.
And he said, because what happened was, long story short, he was going through a bit of a rough time.
Yeah.
You know, he's just lost his mum. You know, his life was in shambles, and I thought, I'll send him this song to cheer him up.
Oh, that was sweet
you
of
know.
you. Yeah.
So I sent him "Why Can't Christmas Be Here Every Day?" So I sent it to him, and he loved it.
Oh.
Then about 2 or 3 days later, I get a call from him, and he said, "Keith, you're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said, I have just received a phone call from a producer who's doing a Christmas movie, and she has just asked me, do I know any songwriters that do Christmas songs?
If that's not a God moment, I don't know what it is.
Tell me about it. So I said, so what did you tell her? He said, I've got just the song for you. So he said, I sent it to her. I hope you don't mind. I said, you kidding? You sent our song? He says, yeah. And she loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Wow.
And so I said, so what's next? He said, well, she wants it for the movie.
Oh.
I said, well, what's the movie? I didn't even know what the movie was called.
Yeah.
I said, so what's the movie called? He said, it's called #Blessed.
#Blessed.
So they went into filming last year.
Right.
The song is in the movie.
Right.
It's had, to my knowledge, so far, it's been in several film festivals.
Wow.
Even in Scotland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take it back home.
Yeah. And so the song itself is now being played, and my supervisor, Marcus, is taking care of the legal stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Awesome. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's very exciting, and I never thought for 1 minute. And then we wrote another Christmas song, which hopefully will be out this year. I hope.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What's that called? Do you have a name for it yet?
Tonight is Christmas Eve.
Tonight is Christmas Eve.
But it's fashioned. Remember the song, Buttons and Bows?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the melody
Great little song.
Yep, is very similar to that.
Oh, okay.
And we put the lyrics to wrap around the song.
Oh.
And it's all legal, by the way, folks, so don't get excited. The first thing I did was I copyrighted it in our idiom rather, and it worked great. And then so they accepted it and said, okay, go for it. So we put this beautiful lyrics together, and it got amazing reviews. I mean, literally incredible reviews.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, as did Heading Home, of course.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We mentioned a God moment. You know,
yes,
you were talking about that. We've only got about 3 minutes or so left in the show, Keith, and I'm going to ask you a favor. That's your camera right over here. If you would address the camera, I know you're a believer. You're a strong Christian man. Talk to our audience about why having Jesus part of their life is a good idea.
Well, to have Jesus, to have God as part of your life, to me, is one of the most important things that I do. He has been my Savior in many, many cases. In fact, he was so strong with me that he has gotten me through so much grief that I've had in my life. My father passed away several years ago now.
Yeah.
And he was my best friend. It was just amazing. I mean, so I talk to him every day.
Do you?
And I thank God for allowing me to be a part of I'm sorry, I'm getting
That's okay.
a little bit overcome here, but he's been a godsend.
Yes.
And I believe that he is right there behind everything you do.
Yeah, I believe that as well.
And I pray to him and I ask him for help.
Yes.
Sometimes he gives it. Sometimes he says, forget it, Keith. But for
sometimes the answer is no.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So it's yes. If you need God in your life, then you really need to reach out, because he's there. He's right there. All you got to do is say, help me.
Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you.
Well stated. And thank you for your transparency and to talk about how important faith is to you personally. It is to me as well, and I know many of our viewers also look to Christ, look to God for daily solace, you know? And that's kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, it is so important.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, everyone on this planet has been through pain and hurt and love and all of the blessings that God will give to you.
Yes.
You just have to let him in.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Just let him in.
Yes.
And once he's in.
And we hope that you all do that.
Yes.
You know, turn to him, ask him into your heart, and he'll be so pleased to do so.
Yes.
And it was so pleasing to have you on the show, Keith Williams.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a great guy you are.
Pleasure.
And please come back. I
I
hope you
will.
do.
I promise.
Yeah.
Next time I'll bring the band.
There you go. We'll have all 9 of them back
Oh,
here.
yeah. We'll put
And
them
that
on
huge strip.
big screen. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
God bless you. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you.
And as I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, please walk with him. God bless you.
Mama said they're not the kind a young girl should be hanging around. Don't throw your life away on those fools and their foolish games. Baby had her own mind, just couldn't see the hands of time or the hand that fate would deal to a little girl in a world that's real. Baby said I won't let go and I won't give them up. I won't stop till I've had enough. This is my life, my chance to fly. Baby learned that mama was right after lonely days and long cold nights. Baby was a mama now. She saw her child with that same crowd. As mama left the world behind, her words echoed in baby's mind. Keep your head up high. Keep on looking to a brighter sky. Mama said, don't let go and don't give up. Don't stop till you've done it right. This is your life, your chance to fly. Mama said, don't let go and don't give up. Don't stop till you've done it right. This is your life, your chance to fly. Don't let go and don't give up. Don't stop till you've done it right. This is your life, your chance to fly.
Is there a love that is patient and kind, that always protects and trusts, always hopes and perseveres, keeps no record of wrongs? A love that never fails or lets you down, There is a love that embraces you and turns your world into color. It is real and tangible. Jesus displayed this love when he gave his life for us. Even when we fall short, he loves us unconditionally. True love is found in Jesus. We love because he loved us first.
Morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las Vegas, shine.